Alright guys, we're here today to do our top 25 local multiplayer games for the Switch. I love the Switch, and I love local multiplayer games. Let me run down the top 25 for you.
Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech. Going for a recce is the gaming tech. Gaming techie is the gaming tech. Gaming techie.
Alright guys, so we're here today to obviously talk about my favorite local multiplayer games on the Switch. Now before we get started, I'm running down the top 25. These are obviously not in actual order. This number one's not number one. It's just the top 25 in general. And one of the things that I'm going to explain to you guys so it gives you guys a better idea, the Switch has a really cool feature, though a lot of people probably can't use it for the time being because obviously a lot of people don't have multiple Switches. But when I go through these games, I'm going to talk about the fact of how many players can play local multiplayer, which is like physically on the TV with 4 players watching the screen, or local wireless. Local wireless, if you guys don't know what it is, a lot of the games on this list and a lot of the games on the Switch are coming out with something called local wireless, which means if you have multiple Switches in here, you can, like I do, I have one and my wife has one. That means that we can, if we have multiple copies of the game, obviously, we can do local wireless without any wireless connection, without any internet access, and play the game. It's kind of like what the 3DS used to do with download play, except unfortunately none of these games, at least not yet, have come out with actually letting you just download a portion of the game to play it, like the 3DS used to do. You actually have to own both copies. So, but it's still a really cool feature, so I'm going to mention it in these games because it's something some people like to know. I like it, and gives me incentive to, buy 2 copies of a game when my wife has a Switch if she likes the game. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the video then. So, the first one we're going to be talking about here is Mario Kart 8. Now, Mario Kart 8 was obviously on the Wii U. It's a re-release of the Wii U version, but it's the Deluxe edition. And it's obviously all the tracks from the Wii U, the 2 DLC content packs. There's over 48 tracks in this game. We'll never run out of content in this game. There's a bunch of characters, there's even stuff to unlock. The only thing you unlock is customization parts for your cart that you have. And if you guys are crazy and you want to even go more in detail, you can even unlock some gold parts, gold Mario and stuff like that, by doing specific things in the game that will take some time for you to do. But what they added in the Switch version that made me go get it was obviously the battle mode. And not only did they add regular battle mode, where, with the balloon that everyone was used to on the N64 and stuff like that was omitted on the Wii U version, they actually went back and actually added 4 new modes on top of that, like coin runners, and I forget the names of the other modes, but all of them are really, really a lot of fun. I play them online all the time, but this is obviously not about online, this is about local, but all of these you can play local multiplayer. Mario Kart is 1 to 4 local, 2 to 8 local wireless that we were talking about before, so you can play it to 8 Switches altogether, or 4 locally on the TV. And what's nice about Mario Kart with the local wireless is that you can have 1 Switch do 4 people and 1 Switch do another 4 people right on the little Switch screen. So you could have 8 people playing with just 2 Switches. Obviously the screen's a little small, but it will work. I've done it before, and it's, if you're in a pinch and you're at someone's house and that's how you want to do it, it works. So, they added, obviously, I think it's 8 courses for battle mode that you can play on, and the 5 different modes that they added for battle is really well done. Obviously, a lot of tracks in this game. I don't think you guys will ever run out of content. I'm not sure what I would want, in another Mario Kart. The only thing I would say is, like, hey, add more tracks, because obviously doing it behind Nintendo properties is what makes Mario Kart so much fun, is because you're driving around the Nintendo properties. So that's the only thing I would ever say for a new sequel. But anyway, Mario Kart 8. The first one. Number 2 on the list here we have is Overcooked. Now, Overcooked is a really fun 4-player local multiplayer game. There is no local wireless in this one. It is just 4-player local. And this game is utter chaos with 4 people. You can play it, obviously, by yourself, or you can play it with up to 4 people, but up to 4 people is where the madness really ensues. Basically what it is you're trying to cook items that are coming up on the list to serve the customers that are, on here. And you have to chop the lettuce up, chop the meat up, go cook the meat. And you're doing this, and the levels are always shifting, they're always changing up. You'll start one that's really regular, but then you'll go into one that the level is always moving, so you have to, like, you can't just sit there and say, I'm going to cook the lettuce at all times, because sometimes the level's going to change. So now you're going to be stuck in a situation where the lettuce and the cutting board is on the other player's side. So you'll have to, scream at each other and be like, hey, now you cut the lettuce, give me the meat, give me this, give me that. And it's just utter craziness, but it's a lot of fun with 4 people. And the amount of craziness that ensues from this game is just a lot of fun. They have a lot of different maps on here. You do have to progress through the story to actually unlock the maps that you can play, as far as, like, to do the 2v2 local multiplayer stuff. But you can also do the 4-player co-op also as well. And any of the courses throughout the story mode, so that's nice. And just a really well done game, and I think this game's popular enough as it is. There's nothing else I need to say about it. The next one on the list at number 3 is Lovers in Space. This is also 1 to 4 local multiplayer. I played it with 2 people here. It probably does run best with 4 because the more people, then you can see here you're controlling a spaceship basically, and everyone has their own job. And if you're running with 2, you have to always be moving around because there's one person who controls moving the ship. There's another one who has the cannons. You could have another one at the shield. You could have another one controlling one of the other cannons or controlling the map. But if you only have 2 people, obviously, like we played, then obviously it becomes even more chaotic because now you're screaming at 2 people, being like, "Hey, you go this, you do that, you know, you come and do this." But this basically is like Overcooked. When you have 4 people, you're screaming at each other, like, "Hey, you know, there's a guy shooting at us from the bottom. Someone get in the bottom." Or, you know, there's someone lower the shields to the right because there's an enemy on the right and we don't have time to hit him right now. So there's just, you're going constantly back and forth, and the levels are just a lot of fun. They're a really creative game, and I only recently played this game. I had it in my collection for a long time. I never actually played it. Now I really like it. It's easily one of my top things to bring out with 4 people if you want to play something local co-op, just like Overcooked. A lot of fun. Definitely check this one out. At number 4, we have a relatively new release here, and that's Pocket Rumble. This is 1 to 2 local and 1 to 2 local wireless, so both ways. And this is basically, it kind of reminds me of the Neo Geo Pocket Fighter game that they had back then. This was a long time coming. They announced this game like over a year ago. It might have even been announced to be a launch title. And it finally came out a couple weeks ago, and it's actually a lot of fun. Basically, it's a really simplistic version of like Street Fighter with these graphics that I like. And I like it because I'm not a huge fighter fan because I'm not very good at them. If I go online, I usually get wrecked. But this one is just so much fun. Now, granted, the first time I played this game against the computer, I lost like 25 times in a row on the first level. Like, I kept losing to them over and over again until I finally grasped on how to play the game. So it may take you a few tries to figure out what you're doing. But the buttons are really simple. It's like A and B are your main 2 primary buttons of punch and kick, and then you use those variations to move the analog stick either to the left diagonal or right diagonal, and that does its own move, and then it does its own move if you're close to each other. And then you hit both A and B together to do your special. What I like about it is how easy it is to play. The controls are really easy to grasp. Me and my wife played it, and she grasped it really quickly. And the specials and stuff that each character, all the characters feel very different. You can see that, like, the character I'm using is really simplistic to, like, kind of like Street Fighter fighting kind of thing. But then if you look at the other one, she actually turns into a wolf and stuff. So you can see that that's more like Killer Instinct vibe that I got from that character. All the characters are very different, and they have a lot of unique things. Obviously, this has also, you know, the 2-player local multiplayer is obviously where it's at. It's a lot of fun, and I'm having a ton of fun with this game, and it's only a $10 game, so definitely something to check out. Number 5 here for me needs no introduction. It plays 1 to 4 local multiplayer, 1 to 8 local wireless, and that is, of course, Rocket League. Rocket League is a game I've put over 300 hours. I have it on every single system that it's possible on: PS4, Xbox, PC, and on the Switch. And I'm racking up hours on the Switch because obviously that system is always with me. And obviously the fact that it has 4-player local multiplayer like the other ones is good. It does run a little sluggish sometimes with you know, having 4 people attached to it, but it runs well enough to be able to play with people with 4-player split screen, and it's just a lot of fun. You know, there's no better competitive game in my opinion than to play this with 4 people. And it's a really easy game to get into, but a hard game to master. It's really easy to tell some people, like, hey, you're driving a car around, you use the back button to hit the drive button, and you're hitting the ball, and you're trying to get it in the goal. But the amount of, like, crazy things that you can do in the air with trick shots and, like, flipping and, like, obviously gathering the speed boost and stuff. There's over, like, I forget how many millions of people play this game that they announced the other day. Like, over 148 million, I think is what they said, or something ridiculous. But I've been playing this game for like 2 or 3 years now since the day it's been released. I started off on the PC, moved over and got it on the Xbox, and now I'm playing it on the Switch because it's with me everywhere. And, you know, it's just a fun game. There's not much to it. And 4-player local multiplayer and 8-player local wireless is even better. The local wireless runs really well if you can get 4 people in there. You could obviously use AI in the game if you need to as well. So, number 6 here is Crawl. Crawl's a 1 to 4-player local multiplayer game, and I think a lot of people probably don't know about this game. This originally came out on the PC and then got ported over to the Switch, and this game is freaking awesome with 4 people. Even 2 people. Basically what it is you're going through a dungeon. You can see a little bit of the gameplay here, obviously. You start off with one person being the person who's running through the dungeon, and the other person is actually controlling the monsters in the dungeon and controlling the items that are smacking each other in the face. So basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to get to level 10 as a character by killing things, and then going into the room to, you know, announce and go and get the final boss to appear, and then beat the final boss, and that would be, you'll become the winner. While you're going up and fighting these levels, the monsters that are coming up are being controlled by those other people, whether it be 2 players that you're playing with. If it's 4 players, then there's 3 different monsters coming at you at once. So it's utter chaos. And the monsters are coming at you, you're trying to defeat the monsters, level up as fast as possible, and the people are, they're not just throwing the monsters out there, they're controlling these monsters, they're hitting you with these monsters, they're fighting with these monsters. And then, if they land the final blow, they take over, and they now become part of the dungeon, and now they're leveling up, and now you control the monsters, and you control the things you do in the room. And it's just, and there's obviously rooms that you can go in and buy better items, buy better equipment with the gold you're picking up too. It's just a lot of fun, a lot of different bosses, a lot of different enemies that you can use in the game, and it's just a really cool experience with 4 people. One that you guys should definitely check out. It's obviously an indie game, so it's not one of the expensive games, and it's definitely a lot of fun. Number 7 here is another game that came out recently as well. It's called Runbow 1-8. This game is just so much fun. I know I've been saying that a lot of these games are so much fun, but these literally are like my favorite games to play. If you guys don't know, is local multiplayer games. I love playing them with either my wife or people who come over. And Runbow plays up to 8 people locally, which is a lot of fun. And basically what it is you run through stages and you're trying to get to the end. That's like the race mode, and you can punch each other and stuff to try and stop each other in the race. And there's so many levels, it's ridiculous how many levels there are. Always throwing new challenges at you. You never know what's coming up because they're always randomized and stuff. So there's like infinite level content here in this game. And you know, besides the race, there's also a King of the Hill mode where you have to stand in a position on the map while other people are punching you and trying to take you out of there, and hold that for a certain position. And then there's a battle mode where you just like literally try to knock each other out, punch each other, and you know, rack that up. And obviously there's a campaign, and you can do the campaign with someone else in co-op as well. So that's really cool. And this game is just a really awesome game. They have a lot of content in this game. Well worth the asking price. I think it's $15. And 8 players. There's not a lot of games you can get for 8 players on the Switch, and this is definitely one of them. And it's an awesome, fun time. I had fun just playing with me and my wife, and a few other people that have played this in the past, but I couldn't imagine the day that I get to play this with 8 people and how crazy that's going to be. So definitely another one for you guys to check out. Number 8 we have here is another newish game. It's called SpiritSphere DX. It's 1-4 local multiplayer, and this game is crazy amount of fun. Me and my wife are seen here playing it, and it's basically Pong for the modern age. And there's a lot of different maps. There's the balls, you know, that you're using in here. This is the regular ball, but they have bigger balls. They have slow balls. They have fast balls. There's a lot of different variety in here. But what's cool is like it's really, really addictive. They have a campaign you can play. You can play, you know, locally with 2 people. But what's even cooler is that if you're out and about and you only have one Switch, you can actually turn the Switch landscape, and you can actually play with one person on one side of the controller, one on the other, and go back and forth and hit the ball back. And what's cool is not just obviously hitting a ball back and forth. The levels add some variety to it because of the changes up the strategy. But even better is that there's always items being dropped. You can see that, you know, some of the video there, picking up boots to go faster, or picking up bombs that you can throw at the other player. Just a lot of different things you can do with the weapons in there, with the items that are dropping in the game. It's just a lot of fun to play this game. Even more, you know, it's obviously up to 4 people, so that's even better. Playing 2v2 on each side, and it's just a really good. I like the style of it too. It's just a really good game. Number 9 here, I don't think this one needs any introduction either. That's Mario Tennis. Is also a new release. 1-4 player local multiplayer, 2-4 local wireless on this one. And obviously Mario Tennis just came out recently, and I know a lot of people have been talking about how, like, you know, the story's not that good, and they expected a bigger story and stuff like that. Well, guess what? I didn't buy this for the story. Maybe other people did. I didn't. I bought this for 2 reasons. 1, to play online. 2, to play local multiplayer with friends. And that's what this delivers. There are some things I hope that they improve with it, but we're not here to talk about a review. There's a few settings that would be easier that you can do. Like, for example, just picking the maps that you want to play on. You have to, like, go in there and deselect all the ones you don't want just to get the one that you do want to show up, which is kind of stupid. They should just have, like, a level selector. So hopefully that gets patched in, but you can still do it. It's just annoying. But the core gameplay, which is what matters, is amazing. The core gameplay of the game is amazing. Doing 2v2 doubles is awesome. You know, a lot of fun with this game and a lot of strategy with this one, as opposed to other ones that usually people just tap A and A, B, and just hit that. And this one has a lot more involved in it. It's a lot of fun. You could still play the regular mode if you don't want to add all the advanced techniques in this game. You can still just play simple mode and play it like all the other ones were. So you have both options there for you. And, you know, that game's just a lot of fun. You guys should definitely check that one out. The next one on this list here is Super Bomberman R. Now, this one, apparently, when it came out, didn't get a lot of good vibes because it was an expensive game for what it was. They've added a lot of content since then. They even added a whole new Grand Prix mode, which is like their, like, I guess you can say like their competitive mode, where they added like crystals that you pick up and stuff like that. But obviously the core gameplay is all here. They have a lot of different maps that you can unlock and stuff like that. A lot of different characters that all have their own special ability. Obviously, this game is 1 to 8 local, so another one of the 8 player local multiplayer games, and obviously also 8 local wireless as well. And you know, it's Bomberman. Sure, there's a lot of items to pick up. The graphics look good, and if you're a fan of Bomberman, obviously this is what you're going to get on the Switch. And I think, you know, after these updates and stuff that they added that were all free, I think it's a lot better package than it used to be. You know, when it came out, I think it came out at $50. You can now find it easily for $30. So that's a really good price for it with all the content that they added. I really like it, and it's, you know, utter chaos obviously with 8 people, up to 8 people. There's not really much else to be said about Super Bomberman. Obviously, this series has been running for a long time. I'm glad to have a copy of it on my Switch, and you know, I like it a lot. Number 11 on our list is Worms W.M.D. This is 1 to 6 local multiplayer, 2 to 6 local wireless. Now, obviously, Worms has been a series for a long time. It's on every system you can think of. This one on the Switch is really cool. One thing to keep in mind, like us, is that you really need to know the weapons that you have there and learn how to use them correctly so you don't blow yourself up and stuff like we did a lot of times in this video. But it's utter fun regardless, especially when you start really getting a handle on the weapons that are in the game, and crafting weapons that you could do while you're playing the game, the item drops that are coming through the sky that you can collect. They have a lot of different variety in the maps that you can play here. You can play the story with another person, which is really nice. And you know, obviously this is Worms, so it's a strategy game. Yeah, it's a turn-by-turn based game. So obviously one person goes and they do their thing, and they got a minute to do their turn. The next person goes and they got a minute. You can alter the settings and make it 30 seconds or something if you think a minute's too long. But just a lot of fun. It's the typical Worms gameplay that you guys are used to, with a lot of different variety and like all the maps and all the items in there in the game. And you know, there's a lot of things to get into, the story mode and all that stuff. Obviously they have online as well. So a lot to get involved with in this one. This is obviously this is only a digital release. I forget exactly how much it cost. I don't know if it was 15 or 20 when it came out. But that's definitely one you guys should check out if you guys are fans of strategy games and the Worms series. Definitely a great one on the Switch. Next one we have on here is Minecraft. They just updated the version here, so now you can play cross multiplayer with Xbox Live and PC people and mobile people. 1 to 4 players locally, and 1 to 4 local wireless. And you know, I say, now that I catch myself real quick, when I say 1 to 4 local wireless, obviously it's technically 2 to 4, because you can't just do local wireless with one person, because that would not make any sense. I'm just used to saying 1 to 4 for local multiplayer, so it's kind of just reads that way. But you guys realize, obviously, you need 2 switches, because that's what local wireless is. So obviously that's 2 people. But anyway, Minecraft. Obviously, this is the Minecraft you all know and love. Now it's cross-compatible with all these different platforms on the Switch with the new version. I'm more looking forward to the fact that in a couple of weeks here, they're going to be adding the server support, so you can actually join, like, you know, the Miniplex and all those big servers that host a bunch of mini games, so you can play with all those people. That's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. That's going to be that's a few weeks away from what they said. But what's in here now is you can obviously play 4-player split screen. You can go in there and like infinitely create whatever you want, or download some worlds. Like the one that you're seeing here now is the Super Mario World that was built specifically for the Switch, so you can go in there and play with 4 people locally and just have a lot of fun and just go crazy and do whatever you want. You know, it's Minecraft. It's been around for God knows how long now. I don't think anything else needs to be said about this game. If you like Minecraft, you know what it is, and this is a great one on the Switch, and it runs really well. Next one we have on here is Puyo Tetris. It is 1 to 4 local and 2 to 4 local wireless. Puyo Tetris is, I'm really a big fan of Puyo. My wife's really a big fan of Tetris, and it's a great way to be able to play against each other. There's a lot of different modes in this game, a lot of different like versus modes that you can play up to, you know, with your friends and stuff like that, different variety, and it's just a lot of fun. Obviously, if you're a fan of puzzle games and Tetris and Puyo, definitely something to check out. It's cool to be able to mix those 2 together and go through the story mode as well with another person, and or play versus with each other. It's just a lot of fun with you know, the Puyo gameplay is really cool with obviously the match 3 type and stuff, and Tetris, you know, classic gameplay like it's always been. Mashing those 2 together is a lot of fun, and playing versus and like going back at each other is also a lot of fun. So definitely another one of those to check out. The next one on this list here is called Disc Jam. This is 1 to 4 local multiplayer and 2 to 4 local wireless. This kind of reminds me of Windjammers, if you guys are familiar with Windjammers back on the arcades that I've played that, you know, existed back then. This kind of reminds me, it has the same type of feel. You could do 2v2 or 1v1. A lot of fun. If you're a fan of Windjammers from the arcade, this scratches the same exact itch, and it's just so much fun. They throw that disc around, bounce it at each other, go back and forth, throw that disc, and you know, just use all this crazy strategy. You think it's a simple game by looking at the screen, but it's a really addictive game to be able to play with, with your friends and stuff like that. And, Windjammers has been around for a long time, and that's basically what this game is. They basically took Windjammers and updated it for the modern age here and put this game out, and it's just a lot of fun to play. You have 4 friends, throw that disc around, try to get it behind them, dive all over the place. It's just hectic fun, and it's definitely one I recommend for you guys to check out. At number 15, we have ARMS, 1 to 4 local multiplayer, 2 to 4 local wireless. I actually love ARMS. There's some people out there who didn't like the game as much, or said it wasn't that great. You guys are crazy. This game is awesome fun with fighting. You can either use the motion controls, which actually work really well with the Joy-Cons on the Switch. A lot of people swear by playing that way, or you can obviously use the Pro Controller and stuff like that. There's a lot of different modes in here. You can just play the one-on-one fighting. You can play 2v2. You can play volleyball, like a version of volleyball, a version of basketball in here. 2v1 versus the computer. Obviously it has a lot of different modes, a lot of different characters to master, a crap ton of different strategies with the arms that you're obviously collecting and stuff like that. I still haven't unlocked all the weapons. Oh, sorry, all the arms for all the characters. I'm always unlocking new ones. And it's just a hectic amount of fun to play that game. And it's really nice when you can have a setting because it goes up to 8 people. And the way that it does up to 4 people. And it's just a crazy amount of fun. You could see, from the video you guys were just showing how much fun it is to use the different arms, get those strategies down, jump over people, hit them and stuff. It's just a really competitive and fun game that anybody can get into. It's a really simple, I say simple, but there's a lot of strategy. A simple game to get into to tell someone how to play. But it involves a lot of strategy and just so much fun. And there's a lot of variety in the battle stages as well. A lot of content that they've added with new arms and stuff like that. A few battle stages that they added, and a few changes that they've made throughout the time. They've added a good amount of stuff to this game for free as well. So definitely recommend if you guys check this one out. ARMS for the Switch. Next one we have on here is number 16 is Pokemon DX, 1 to 2 local, and local wireless is obviously 2 players. And Pokemon DX is the 3. It's hard to explain. So basically, if you think about the 3 space here and what you're seeing in the video, basically you keep switching battle modes back and forth. So on one style, you're in a 3D circle, battling each other. So you have the whole entire circle in an arena, kind of like ARMS gameplay is, where you're battling and hitting each other, and you got the whole entire arena to go. But then you could switch it up and hit them to go into the other mode, which is more Street Fighter-like, where it's a 2D plane and you're facing each other that way, and you keep going back and forth depending on what moves work on what, because obviously certain moves only work and depending on what mode you're in. And it's just a really solid fighter, and it's a lot of fun to play with these Pokemon. You would think it didn't work because you're fighting with Pokemon, but Blastoise, Charizard, all those characters in there are so much fun to use. Even more variety into the game because of all the maps that they have in the game that you can play on the stages. And obviously all the people you can pick to add even more things, to add more attack while you're picking these. I forget the exact term that they use in the game. It's right now for the support characters. I think that's what they call them, support people. And you can pick them. It's all Pokemon and stuff, and they do different things for you. Some of them will give you more defense. Some of them will give you more attack. Some of them will come out and hit people. They're all different variety, and there's so many to collect and stuff like that. And this game is just so much fun. I would have never thought. Like I said, I'm surprised that I have 3 fighters on this list. And I'm not even a big fighting fan, but the ones that Nintendo makes and the ones that these are coming out with are awesome fun for anybody, whether you're a fighting fan or not. Obviously, it helps if you are, but it's fun regardless, and I'm having a blast with Pokemon DX. The next one on this list at number 17 is probably a game that a lot of people skipped and don't know about, which is Super Sportmatchen 1 to 4 local multiplayer. It has 10 different mini games, and the developers did say that we're going to hopefully add more via patch updates depending on how the game does. So I'm hoping they add more. But even the 10 that are here is just so much fun. You can see some of it here. This pillow fight one is so much fun. Hitting each other with the pillow, try to get them out of there. And you basically can play up to either 5 mini games or 10 mini games total, picking whichever ones you want, and whoever gets the highest score obviously is the winner. You can play up to 4 people, and you can add AI if you need to. So you can play 2 and then add more AI people like we did. And it's so much fun, the variety in here. There's a basketball one. There's one that's the running one that you see here, and it's just a really fun local multiplayer game. And I love the style of the game too. I think the developers delivered a fantastic game on here. Me and my wife really like this game, and I hope they add even more mini games to it. But what's here is still really good and a lot of fun to play. Next one on this list is Stikbold Deluxe. Stikbold Deluxe is up to 1 to 6 local local players, and it is basically Dodgeball. But they add, the Dodgeball, as you can see here in the gameplay. But there's more than just Dodgeball in this game. There's actually other modes as well, where they add, like, for example, 2 nets, one on one and one on the other. You try to throw the ball at the net while the other people are trying to get in the way and save them and stuff like that. There's a wheel of, I forget the exact term, wheel of something that they use in this game. It basically throws all their different modes all together, and it spins a wheel, and you're playing all these different modes. There's like 6 or 7 or 8, something like that. Different modes in the game and different variety of the game. There's regular Dodgeball, the soccer one I was talking about. A lot of variety, a lot of cool moments, and you can play the story mode with another person as well, so that's really cool. This is also just a ton of fun with 4 people. A lot of these games just thrive on having 4 people in local multiplayer, and it's just a lot of fun here to play. And it's definitely one of my favorites. This has been out for a while on PC as well as ported over. And I think the things that they added in this game, they added some characters and stuff like that, did well for the Switch. And this is a great game to have on the Switch for local multiplayer. At number 19 is Snipperclips, 1 to 4 local, and this game is obviously a launch title. A lot of people know about this game. It's a cool game. Basically, it's a puzzler here. You can see in the video basically that you're either cooperating between 2 or 4 people, and you have to, like, in this one you have to get the ball into the basketball hoop and stuff like that. Or later on in the video you'll also see that you obviously have to cut each other up. Snipperclips. You clip each other up and you're trying to fit each other into a puzzle form and try and pass the level. That gets really hard. We tried the 2 easiest ones to give you guys an idea what the game is like, but they get crazy hard. Especially the 4-player ones, because they have the 4-player ones have specific maps that you can use and stuff, so there's a lot of content in here with that. And they also added, there's an expansion to this that added more of those maps and stuff like that to play, more of those puzzles. They also added these other modes in the game that's really cool. They added like a hockey one, a basketball one that you can play with the 6 people. Sorry, with 4 people. I got confused there for a second. So they added a lot of different modes there and stuff to play. So it's, the air hockey thing is cool, the basketball one is cool. They added a bunch of different ones. So there's not just the puzzle element. It also has a bunch of mini games to play and stuff like that. I think they did a really good job for this. It's a solid package. I think it's $30, and there's a lot of craziness that goes on in this game, and it's another one of those great co-op games to play with your friends. At number 20 is a Jackbox series. It is 1 to 16 players, depending on what kind of game it is. They have Jackbox 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the Switch. The one you're seeing here is the 4th one, and just a lot of different games that you can play in this one. And they already announced Jackbox Party Pack 5. That's coming out later this year, which I'm obviously excited about. I'll be buying that day 1. Like I said, there's not a lot of games out there that you can play with, like, even more than 8 people on this one, but up to 8, at least up to 8 people on the Switch. And this one, the only thing is everyone needs to have a phone or an iPad or a computer or a laptop, tablet, whatever you want to use to get onto the website, and then that's all you need. So everyone does need to have that. But, a lot of different variety on the modes and stuff like that. And obviously, it's a word game and stuff. There's a lot of different games in there where some of them are filling in words, and people have to figure out what the correct answer is, and you're trying to decoy them with the word you're picking. Or you're just doing one word versus the other, and you're trying to make up a word. You're trying to answer a question to pick the best answer, and then you go A to B, and whose answer is better. A lot of different variety and a lot of humorous stuff depending on what kind of crowd you're playing with. We can go sexual quick, I'll tell you that, because the questions lean that way sometimes, which is pretty funny. But obviously it depends what the crowd you're playing with and how that goes. But it's just a lot of fun, and I think the Jackbox series has been around for a while, and it's definitely something everyone needs to check out. At number 21, we have Nine Parchments, 1 to 4 local and 2 to 4 local wireless. This is a great dungeon crawler to play with 1 to 4 people. It's a lot of fun. You go through there, you try to earn more hats, earn more weapons, collect them and stuff like that, try to level up. Go through, and there is a story you're going through that you're playing through together. There is like an end to it. I think there's 9 different levels of 9 different bosses, and you're trying to collect all these different hats, but there's a lot of things to collect, a lot of characters to unlock, a lot of weapons and stuff to unlock. It's a really fun, like, dungeon crawler type of game, and a lot of fun to play this game with 4 people. There's not a lot of games like this on the Switch right now, like the Diablo-ish style kind of game, which just kind of rings a bell, like scratches that itch of. And it's a really solid game. It's on sale for $10. I think if it's still on sale for $10, it should be. If not, either way, I bought it at $20, and I was happy with it when I bought it. There's a lot of content in this game, and they added even more stuff recently in a free update where you can go through and like try to battle like even more overpowered monsters. It tells you should probably be level 40 first, or you're gonna get wrecked. But So that's Nine Parchments for the Switch at number 21. At number 22 is another one of the recent games that came out, and that is Sushi Strikers. This is 2 players locally, and it's a 2 players local wireless as well. And this game is a really cool puzzle. It's about matching. It's about obviously matching the plates that are similar and matching them. And you have the 3 powers on the left-hand side that you can use. One of the powers will be a shield. One of the powers will turn all the plates to the same dessert, so you can go and collect health. And the thing that stands out about this game that I really like, actually, the local multiplayer is a lot of fun because you're playing with someone else. But they also have, obviously they have online. But the animation and anime style of this game, especially through the single player that you can play as well, obviously with only one person though, is a great component to the game as well. And they did a lot of the cutscenes and stuff are really well done. A lot of people say it's a little bit too expensive, so for what's there. So you may want to see if you can get it on a discount. I happily paid for it, and having a lot of fun with it. There's not a lot of games like this. I saw it at PAX for the first time and really liked what I saw. It's a lot of fun and easy to get into. And it's fun playing 2 players because you're going at each other, you're trying to get as many plates as possible, combo them, and then you take the plates on the bottom, you throw them at each other, you're trying to get there's a life bar on the right-hand side, and you're trying to get that life bar to the lowest, one possible. And, it's just a really fun puzzle game to play with someone else, or, like I said, if you want to play by yourself, there's a single player, of course. At number 22 is Escapists 2. Now, Escapists 2 is a game that is basically about escaping a prison. It's a crazy game about escaping a prison, and you can play 2 players locally. Unfortunately, the only downfall about this one, I almost didn't put it on the list, but I still have a lot of fun with it, is that the Escapists 2 also exists on the PC and Xbox and PS4, and you can play 4 player locally on there. Unfortunately, it's only limited to 2 on the Switch for whatever reason. I guess it can handle it. Basically, you have a giant open prison, and you basically have to escape the prison in any means possible. You search through people's desks, search through all you buy things from people who are walking around selling you things, and you basically get money by doing jobs in the game that you're doing, or you have to sometimes do roll call and stuff like that. And in between all that, while you're doing the roll call, while you're doing the daily things that people in prison have to do, you have the little bit of time to go around and start searching for people's desk and find the items that you need, find pliers, cut through the wire in the middle of the night when the guards aren't looking, and escape the prison, or grab a shovel, dig through your own cell and get to the bottom and dig through the tunnels and get to the other side and get out of the prison. A lot of different variety in the game, but it does take some getting used to for sure. It's not a game that you're just going to say, all right, we're going to play 1v1 right now, because you're both going to be totally lost because there's so many options, but you have to figure things out for yourself. It's not like it tells you like, oh, option 1 is go get pliers, option 2 go get a shovel. You have to kind of just figure that out on your own. Like, oh, there's pliers here. Maybe I could escape the fence with it. Oh, there's a shovel here. Maybe I can use that and, dig my way underneath the floor. It's things that you have to figure out on your own. Obviously, you can look them up online to give you an idea of what you're looking for, but that's the only thing is you need to have a little bit of good grasp on what's going on. But once you get into it, and once you know the options, it becomes a hectic race, because that's basically what this is with 1v1. It's a race on who can get out of their prison first, basically. A crazy game, nothing like I've ever played on any of the other games. That's number 22, Escapists 2. Next game on the list, I know people are going to cause controversy over this, but I still put it on the list anyway, and that is 1-2 Switch at number 23. For whatever reason, a lot of people don't like this game. I don't know why. A lot of people were like, I understand that it's $50 is probably a little bit too much money. It's probably better if it was like a $20 or $25 game. I could agree with that, but the fact that people are like it's not even worth it as a $10 or $15, $20 game, I have a different opinion. A lot of people say you'll play the mini games once and never play them again. I disagree. I play some of these games are a lot of fun to play multiple times over with people who come over. Obviously, it's not a game that you're going to play by yourself. It's as a party game. Obviously, it's also not going to be a game you play for hours on end or anything. But as a party setting game to bring out for the Switch yourself, what the Switch can do, it's a lot of fun. And everybody who's come here and played it, when they play it the 3rd, 4th, or 5th time, whoever I've shown it to, they don't go, oh, we're playing this again. Like they're like, oh, I'm ready for this. Like I'm gonna beat you this time at this mini game. There's like 30 mini games, I think is what it is in here, and some of them are obviously better than others. But as a party setting game, if you find it cheaper, if you don't want to pay full price for it, I think it's an excellent party game. Obviously, the cheaper the better, but I still have a lot of fun with it. It is what it is. At number 24 is Beat Sports. Beat Sports is from the creators of Rock Band from Harmonix, and it's a really fun 1 to 4 player local multiplayer game as well. And it also does do local wireless as well with up to 4 people. And, you know, it's obviously all music related, so you're hitting the, you know, the mini games are like you see here, baseball, but you're going and hitting the baseball bat on the ball depending on the rhythm of the game. And, you know, there's a bunch of different levels you can play with each other in the game, so it adds a lot of variety. The levels are always changing up and stuff like that. And there's 4 or 5 different sports in the game. You know, it's a nice music rhythm game, and the tunes are kind of catchy too when you're playing it, so that's a lot of fun. And the minigames are pretty cool. I like what they do. Even though it's based on music, it still feels like, you know, hey, I'm hitting the ball. And I'm playing baseball here. Or, hey, I'm playing like a little air hockey table kind of thing, which is one of their other modes. Or I'm playing golf and stuff like that. So it's still a cool experience and a lot of fun. A lot of unlockables to unlock, like to customize your character and stuff like that. So yeah, Beat Sports at number 24. Alright guys, so obviously I'm a bit of an idiot, and obviously that was the top 25. When we finished Sushi Striker, we said that was number 22. Escapists 2 should have been number 23, and 1-2 Switch was 24, and Beat Sports was number 25. Sorry for that, I'm an idiot and couldn't count. So that is my top 25 games for local multiplayer on the Switch, and I'm always looking forward to more. And there's more multiplayer games, or local multiplayer games, that I'm so looking forward to that I'll be doing in a separate video for you guys. If you guys want it, you can comment down below and let me know, and show you guys what games are coming up on the Switch. I love the Switch's local multiplayer machine. That's basically, you know, obviously that's not the only thing it's become, but I'm just saying, like, that's my go-to machine for local multiplayer games, because so many games come to it, and there's so many great ones already, and we're only in year 2 of the Switch's life cycle. And this is exactly what I like, you know, what I always wanted, to be able to have a system, pop it down, play some 2, 3, 4 players no matter where I am with people, and it's just a lot of fun, and I've done it so many times already. So those are the top 25 local multiplayer games. I give you guys a lot of options in there. If you guys have any questions about anything you guys saw, of course, leave it down below in the comments. If not, thank you guys for watching. Till next time.
Tech, gaming techie is the gaming tech, gaming techie, gaming tech. Eating brekkie is the gaming tech, going for a brekkie is the gaming